Chef Elizabeth, and today I'm going to show you how to make a great holiday cocktail, traditional eggnog, using the hard stuff. The first thing that you're going to want to do is actually beat your egg whites to a stiff peak. So I'm going to have 6 egg whites that I've separated here. Keep the yolks because you're going to use them later, but we want to beat these whites to a stiff peak. So you're going to need either a stand mixer or a mechanical mixer that you can hold over the top. Doing it by hand won't get them quite stiff enough. So I'm going to put this down. I'm going to start it on a low speed. To get the best peaks out of egg whites, you have to have a gradual beating. So we're going to start out slow, and once I see a frothy inside, I'm actually going to start adding the sugar gradually as well, and that'll get us a nice fluffy, stiff peak. So I can see sort of a fluffy mixture beginning, and I'm going to add my sugar, and just a nice slow pour. You know, don't worry if a big clump comes out. You're going to be just fine. I'm going to increase the speed a little bit more. Eventually, we'll go all the way up to the highest speed. And we're using only about half our sugar in this mixture here. Okay, so I've got all the sugar added. So now all we have to do is wait for this mixture to be done, and we'll be able to mix the next step. So I'm just checking my egg whites, and right now they're not quite at a stiff peak, they're at a soft peak where you can see that it's hanging there. And if I take this off, I can turn it over and you can see how that peak just curls right over. That means it's a soft peak. You could use your meringue at this stage, but the stiffer we make that meringue, the better it's going to be on top of our eggnog, making pillows of poofy, wonderful meringue. Okay, so now if you look at the top, I have a nice stiff peak. Sort of looks like one of those perfect ice cream cones, but the peak will stay straight up. So that's what we're looking for. We're going to set this aside while we mix the rest of our eggnog. So in this bowl right here, I have the rest of my sugar, and I'm going to add my egg yolks to it. And then we're going to beat these egg yolks until they are smooth and lighten in color, just a little bit. So you need a little bit of a sturdy arm to do this. But the more we beat them, the better it's going to mix into the whole mixture, because we don't want grains of sugar in our eggnog. And you could use an electric mixer for this part if you wanted to as well, because it is a bit of hard work. Okay, as you can see, my egg yolks have lightened already. They don't have that dark look to them. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to add all my other ingredients. We need just a little bit of cinnamon. And I have ground cinnamon, so I'm going to sprinkle that on the top. You can do this to your taste. Some people like more cinnamon in their eggnog. Then we're going to add some freshly ground nutmeg. Now this part's super important. If you use already ground nutmeg, you just won't get the same flavor. So you really need to use freshly ground nutmeg. This is a microplane, and this is a whole nutmeg. So I'm just going to take this and scrape it across the microplane. So as you can see, little teeny granules are coming right out of my whole nutmeg. And there's the cut side. Okay. So you just want to keep going. This smells so strong, it almost smells peppery and savory. And nutmeg is the traditional flavor in eggnog. I mean, other than the egg. Okay, so it looks like we have the right amount. I'm going to put that back inside. A cut nutmeg can go right back inside the jar, saved in the cupboard for next time. Now we're going to add a little bit of our alcohol here. So I have an aged rum. It's a great variety to use. An aged rum is going to give you more full vanilla flavor from the oak that it's been in, rather than a rum that's just a dark rum. Those often are just colored with caramel color and sweetened a little bit. So you want an aged rum. And we're going to put about 6 ounces in there. All chef's eyeball, right? And then we're gonna add some bourbon. And this is actually a local bourbon, Cody Road bourbon. It's made in the Quad Cities. We want about 6 ounces of that as well. I'm gonna put the cap back on. So this is going to be a bit of a strong eggnog in the end. I'm whisking that together. And then we're gonna add our dairy. So I have heavy whipping cream, which we're gonna add first. That's the safest if you add the milk first. Sometimes you can accidentally curdle this mixture. So we're gonna add about a pint of cream, which would be half of this container. Doesn't feel like quite half. That feels good. Okay, and then we're gonna add a quart of milk, if it will fit. Almost half. There we go. Perfect. So we're gonna mix this together, and it already looks like eggnog. But the best part is adding that meringue right into it. So I'm just gonna take this bowl. You can see my beautiful shiny meringue. We're gonna whisk some of that out and gently, I need a bigger bowl, gently mix that together. And you can use the meringue as a garnish if you want in your cups, but I like to mix part of it in. I'm gonna save some of it to go on the top of my cups. So this might take me just a minute. Okay, as you can see, I've mixed it all together, and it's a nice thick consistency now. So I'm gonna pour this into my pitcher very carefully. And it's got that nice, thick eggnog look. We've got all those spices at the bottom, so we don't want to lose those. Okay, so now we're gonna dish these up. And I have these cute little glasses that we can serve the eggnog in. You don't want a huge glass. You could serve it in a flute, a martini glass, or a nice little rocks glass like this. We're gonna start out a little bit backwards by putting that dollop of meringue on the inside. This way, it will get coated with the eggnog and float to the surface. See how it just popped up there and it has that nice eggnog color. Then we're gonna take some white chocolate curls and put them on the top. And for a little more pizzazz, how about a little bit of freshly grated nutmeg? And there you have it, a delicious glass of homemade hard eggnog using both bourbon and rum.